Okay, hello and welcome. Hopefully you can hear me now. Been some slight technical difficulties, but they should be pretty much ironed out and resolved very shortly. This is a Super Mario Kart 150cc tournament winners round 2 match between Bowserkart44 and Zarkov. These two players came in through the seeding competition last weekend. Bowserkart44 came in 5th in that seeding competition, and Zarkov came in 12th. Although I think Zarkov's 12th seeding was probably a bit lower than he would have normally expected. I think he'd been out enjoying himself before that run, so things. Zarkov showing that he is a big Watford fan, a team that lost 3-0 to Manchester United today and are in danger of relegation from the Premier League.
They are indeed, Molly, yes.
Okay, I'm Danger. I'm joined on commentary by Yorkshire SMK, who I
Pleasure
might
to be
refer
here,
to
Molly.
as Chris.
So, go on, you crack on, mate.
Yeah, so Zarkov is the lower of the two seeds. He had the air quotes veto on cups, essentially pushing one of the cups to be fourth to be played, and he's pushed back Special Cup, which isn't too surprising since he's about as good on Rainbow Road as I am.
He has some talent that he's shown over the years, I believe, Molly. So we'll have to get the viewers to see his abilities on this at some.
Yeah, and I believe that Bowserkart, or Dave as I might call him, I believe he's chosen Star Cup.
Right, that'll be an interesting start.
So this is a best of 5 cups. So first person to win 3 cups in RTA style single cup speedrun format will take down a match. So this is the penultimate match in winners round 2. We're still waiting on KVD and Hattock. Though Haddock was the one of 2 players to have to play in winners round 1, so he only played his initial match yesterday. So hopefully Carol can arrange that match and we can move on to winners 3 and losers 1 shortly.
For the benefit of the viewers, Molly, how long have these 2 individual players been within the Mario Kart community for? How long have they been
Forever.
partaking?
Before
Forever.
records. Basically, these 2 have been around since before our records actually began. So I was actually looking at this earlier today, and the Mario Kart players page, the main kind of forum hub for Mario Kart players over the years.
Yeah.
That had a little accident back in 2006 where somebody nearly deleted the entire site.
Right.
So
okay.
the oldest recorded joining times for people is 2006, even if they joined before that. And both of these players are from the pre-2006 era. So they've been in and around the community for a very, very long time. Bowserkart kind of stepped away for about 8 or 9 years.
Right.
He was around when I joined in 2010. But from about 2011 onwards, he'd post maybe 1 or 2 posts a year. And then he came back just over a year ago, kind of properly came back, and he's been quite active in Mario Kart since.
Yeah.
So it is Star Cup. It's a difficult cup. Both of these players are playing on a US version, so hopefully they won't have too many problems when they reach Bowser Castle 3.
Both players with balloons up, but Zarkov taking the eclectic line of Through the Hedges, which might have impeded him a little on the first lap.
Yeah, so one of the key things with Super Mario Kart speedrunning is essentially just trying to keep top speed. These tracks really weren't designed to be driven by the heavyweight characters at full speed.
No, it's interesting to think. Yeah, it's very interesting to think what the programmers initially thinking when they first made this game. Whether they'd still see people driving it at this sort of pace nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of mechanics in the game that allow us to keep kind of full speed going all the way around the tracks, but to think that's how it was intended to be played, I think would be quite a long stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, my understanding is that it was the F-Zero, they were making F-Zero 2 on the SNES. They had to program parts of the track around. They couldn't render long distances, hence they made the twisty tracks and the formations that we see on Super Mario Kart, but they were doing it under a strict time and budget, and I'm sure they had no idea what it would have become nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, this track, for example, is a prime case of not being designed to be driven at full speed by the heavyweight characters. I mean,
Indeed.
the corners just don't work. Technically, it is possible to hop around the outside of the little mud lake at full speed. What we do is we kind of trick the game into doing a boost so we can boost over it. But this track was not designed to be driven at full speed the whole way around like some players are capable of doing. One big thing that the players will be looking for on this track is a feather. The feather is kind of by far the most OP item in the whole game. It allows for some pretty big shortcuts to be done. There's one on this track which can take what is normally about a 12-second lap and take it down to a 4 or 5-second lap.
Yes. Which, as we're seeing on the different streams, is quite often it's become the margin of difference between people winning or losing. It's been really close, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of driving, quite often the best driver will win, but you can't account for one player getting much better RNG on the items or the CPUs. The CPUs can have a massive impact on some races.
Yeah.
Especially things like the mini poison shroom, which will probably take about a minimum of about 8 seconds off your time, and possibly more if you get squashed.
Yeah. Do you believe there is an edge between Bowser and Donkey Kong based on who the following players are and who tends to throw the different items? I know you've mentioned Bowser before. You don't like the Bowser Fireball, but do you think there's anything with the poison shroom there at all?
Yeah, I would never pick DK.
Right.
The main reasons are, one, the Bowser item on the track is because it wanders around and it's not just static, it makes it really difficult to avoid, and it's got a massive hitbox. The second one is if you pick DK, you get Princess in second, so you're going to be having mini shrooms thrown at you.
On the very last lap.
Rather,
yeah.
Whereas if you pick Bowser, you're going to have Mario and Luigi behind you. So all you have to deal with is players that turn invincible when you get near them. And if you're good enough, you should just be able to drive away from them and they won't be an issue.
Yeah, that's a good analogy actually. But whilst with Princess, you can't control exactly the parabola, where that poison mushroom is going to be thrown.
Yeah, it can snipe you on the head. It can literally be unavoidable.
Yes.
So coming around here, 56 for Bowserkart. Zarkov with the 58. It looks like there's about 5 seconds between them at the moment. Maybe a little bit more because the streams look about 2 seconds desynced. But going into Bowser Castle 3, this is a track where 5 or 6 seconds can disappear in a heartbeat. 20 seconds can disappear in a heartbeat.
Yes. Bad luck or good luck is contagious on this track.
Yeah, so it's one of the few tracks where you really have to deal with like RNG on every single lap. The thwomps after lap 1 are always up. Or laps 2 to 5, it's pretty much RNG whether they'll be up or down. Yeah. And when you come into the narrow section with 4 thwomps, they can all be down. Or you can try and drive under a space where one's up and it can just drop straight down on your head and squish you. You're basically running a lottery every single lap, and it can win or lose huge amounts of time. It's also very easy to jump in the lava here.
In theory, is there still a sub-pixel always available? So when all 4 thwomps are down, could someone drive on GP and go straight through if they get the right line?
There's a 1 or 2 pixel gap to the left of the leftmost thwomp, which in theory you can squeeze through, but it will massively compromise the next turn to the point where you'll almost have to slow to a stop to get through if you take that line.
Yes.
I would never take that line, and I tend to just slow down a little bit and take a look and see where one's going to raise and where one's not going to raise.
Right.
If you're going full blast at them and all 4 are down, the best option is just to take a jump to the left and see if you can whack it into the wall and like squeeze through against it. But
Yep.
I personally prefer to wait for a gap and see the gap, because in NTSC, even if you slow down a little, the acceleration's not so bad that you can get back to top speed quite quickly.
Yep.
So you see another 2 seconds pulled out for Bowserkart44, aka Dave, and it is fantastic to see him driving well, because he was super nervous going into this match. He was kind of posting in Discord about how nervous he was and how he didn't think he'd be able to drive well. I was trying to reassure him I was bricking it before my match yesterday, but once you get one cup out of the way and done, you very much settle down into it, and it looks like he settled quite quickly.
I think a lot of this is the essence of the whole community, though. Whether you go to CDM or otherwise, it's a lot of people who... There might be viewers now who love this game who've just not communicated before with the community because they just want to view more passively from afar. But I think ultimately everyone has to just overcome that at the end of the day if they want to share the game, the appreciation for the game. And I think it's great how in the last week we've got another, in Harry Yak, another great commentator, someone who's really enthusiastic and passionate for the game. In a really short space of time, they've joined, and yeah, they can get rid of those nerves or those fears of not partaking.
Yeah, Super Mario Kart and the Mario Kart games in general have been kind of very isolated from the rest of the speed gaming or speedrunning community. You know, we've run our own websites, our own forums, our own leaderboards since the 90s, and whenever a new Mario Kart game comes out, we run our own leaderboards for them. Especially with the older Mario Karts, some of the newer ones have kind of more embraced the speedrunning community. Whereas for the older games, a lot of us have been playing these games since they came out back in the 90s and 2000s. So you don't see a lot of kind of crossover between the traditional time trialers and multiplayer kind of event people, the speedrunning community. It's something which we're trying to address at the moment.
Why do you think that persisted so long, Molly? Do you think it's something to do with the community's identity, how it's grouped over the years, and there's a reason for it changing now?
So Bowserkart takes the first cup. I've got a button I need to press, so I'll just press that button. So that's the first cup in the best of 5. So we're not going to see Star Special, so the next one's going to be either Mushroom or Flower. Just going to wait and see what the choice is there. But to address your point, I think the main reason is because the focus of Mario Kart players in the past has pretty much been exclusively time trials throughout the year.
Yeah.
We do play the other modes, but we tend to only do those in like strict 2-player settings where we're at local meets, be it World Championships or visiting other players. But throughout the year, it's pretty much all down to time trials. And the games themselves keep a track of what times you get, so there's no need to time runs or anything like that. The games have a replay option, so you don't necessarily have to live record or stream your entire session. You wait till you get a PR and then you just hit the replay button and record the replays. That's basically been what our proof process has been.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with things like Super Mario Kart, where a lot of the people have been playing this game since it came out, so they're in their 30s, in their 40s now. A lot of people didn't really grow up in a streaming environment. Unlike a lot of the newer people to the game come in from a streaming environment, we were very much from an offline internet chat room environment. So yeah. But we are starting to see a lot more Super Mario Kart streams now. We have this tournament running. Hopefully we'll start running more and more tournaments as time goes by. Hopefully people enjoy watching this.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
So this is going to be hard for Zarkov. It's past his bedtime already.
Yes, he's known as a very diligent sleeper.
Yeah, he sleeps early, he wakes early. So this is probably bordering on where he'd be having his cup of tea, putting his slippers on and shuffling to the bedroom.
Yeah. Indeed.
Okay, so did you see what cup I selected? I think it was
Mushroom.
Mushroom,
Mushroom, Molly, yeah.
So Mushroom is the easiest cup in the game. I'd say 4 of the tracks are very easy. Bowser Castle 1 can be difficult to control at full speed, even for people who are quite well versed in the game.
I think for
but
one
it is
player,
by far the most friendly cup for newer players.
for newer players in one-player mode, yeah, if they're playing against the friends, I think they can have a lot of the more surprises will happen in Mario Circuit 2 and Choco Island 1. Those sort of tracks where you can get in contact with players pretty quick with items. So for one-player stream, this will be safe. Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I played this game in the 90s, I'd be playing 150cc Mushroom Cup time after time with like Toad, and it was great fun. You could win every track fairly easily with Toad that way. Play with your friends, 2-player, one was Toad, one was Koopa, just playing Mushroom Cup 150 over and over again. The other cups we didn't really like because they were too difficult, but Mushroom was always very playable.
Do you have a memory of when you first won Special Cup on your first memory of actually being able to win it? Do you have to do what some of the other players have done, where they go in pairs and they use a blocker to get enough coins?
So I remember beating Special Cup on 100cc to unlock 150cc.
Yeah.
I have no memories of ever beating it on 150cc until I picked the game up again in 2010.
Oh wow! Just nothing there at all. Yeah.
As a kid, I think on 150, I remember beating Mushroom Cup hundreds upon hundreds of times. I remember beating Flower Cup a handful of times, and I remember finding the other 2 cups too difficult, so I just didn't really play them at 150.
Yeah.
I only played them at 100 to unlock 150.
Right.
But I remember even beating Special Cup on 100cc was quite a mammoth exercise for me. This obviously was in the PAL version of the game, not NTSC, so in PAL you do get punished a lot more for any mistake because they've reprogrammed the game physics, and acceleration is so much worse than in NTSC.
Yeah, I think they had to do like a late patch of the physics, didn't they? They tried to bring it down linearly from the frames, and then they had to do some slight tweaks on the graphics, and I believe there was a tweak on the physics as well.
It's not just a tweak; it's pretty much a rewriting of the whole game mechanics, because a lot of games, when they converted NTSC to PAL, they just left the game as it was, and PAL version played 20% slower.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to maintain the speed, so they completely rewrote the mechanics of how acceleration and turning and things like that work in the PAL version. And so it is very much a separate game, which is why we have separate leaderboards for PAL and NTSC.
Sure.
Okay. I was going to say, Clark's putting out quite a nice lead. He had a bit of a... Sorry, Zarkov had a last corner mishap, so that's allowed Dave to catch up a little bit. He was about a lap behind. It looks like he's just going to be 6 seconds behind on this track.
Yep.
So, Ghost Valley 1 up next. Unless somebody fails a platform jump, there shouldn't really be any difference between the 2 players' times.
Do you believe both players will be going for 5 platform jumps here, or will they be more conservative?
Almost
certainly. Yeah.
150cc with the heavyweights is pretty much free.
Yeah.
You'll feel nervous if you're still on like 2 or 3 coins. You want to get up to 5 or 6 very quickly. So Zarkov on 3 coins has decided not to go for it.
Yeah.
Bowserkart's picked up coins, so he's got 5. So I expect him to go for it. Yep.
No. Have you explained the viewers the difference in acceleration with the coins yet? The extra.
No. So basically, you get extra speed for every coin you collect up until 10 coins.
Yep.
I believe the total difference is between 0 coins and 10 coins is about 10%, with every 1 coin adding 1 extra kind of percent to your speed. The reason
we thought like a tenth of a second a lap, so 10 coins would be 1 second faster lap.
In something which is approximately a 10-second lap, like MC1, every extra coin you have up to 10 basically makes you about 0.1 of a second a lap quicker.
Yeah.
I've ground that lap out many times, so I'm fairly confident it is somewhere in that region of 0.1 of a second per coin over a 10-second lap. So each coin being about an extra 1%.
Yep.
So let's see what we got here. Zarkov starting the race at about 54.
54, yep.
Dave about 57, 58, but missing the zoom start, so it should be about 5 seconds difference now.
At this point in time, yeah. How about hopping the bumpers? Has that been explained as well?
I haven't in this run.
Sure.
So the yellow bumpers, you'll see that they're not hitting the bumpers, they're jumping over the bumpers. That's because every bumper you hit, it doesn't just propel you over the lava, it reduces your speed a little. And if you hit like 6 in a row in short succession, you'll be losing quite a lot of speed. Hitting just one's not so bad. Ooh, Bowserkart hitting the banana on the turn. But yeah, they'll be wanting to jump as many yellow bumpers as possible to maintain the top speed. Ooh,
it can be risky. It is risky, isn't it? Because if you try and hop all of them and you make that one loss, you might lose 6 seconds. But you have to then hop all of them successfully to save a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so on NTSC 150cc, hopping all these yellow bumpers is essentially free if you're at full speed. If you're not at full speed, then hopping the bumpers becomes very, very risky. For Bowser Castle 1, that is. On tracks like Bowser Castle 2, Bowser Castle 3, it becomes slightly more difficult, but there are bumpers where if you hit the bumper at full speed, it'll just plop you straight into the lava because you actually bounce over the area it was intended to land you at. Because again, this game really wasn't designed for people going around at full speed with Bowser. So there are some where if you hop one bumper, you have to hop the next two, because if you hit either of them, it's plopping you straight into the lava. One which people will probably be very used to seeing that on is Bowser Castle 3. The very first two lava bumpers, if you just drive full speed at that, you go straight into the lava.
Yes.
So on to MC2. We got Clark's got a Zarkov. About a half lap, maybe 2/3 of a lap head start. Or leads. So this one should be over. We should be going to 1-1. But the only thing that could have any real effect now is a really bad CPU snipe. So hopefully Toad won't fling a mini mushroom straight onto Zarkov's head. No, he's fine. He should be fine now. Just coming around the last corner. Avoids the Yoshi egg. To the line, 7:55. And Bowserkart looking... Oh, ouch. They both had that egg on that same spot on lap 5. Zarkov able to avoid it. Bowserkart hitting it. So that's going to be 1-1. So the next cup should be Flower Cup, since Special was pushed back to 4th.
Yep.
I would probably put the advantage in Flower Cup to Bowserkart.
You think so? Oh.
The same with Special as well. Zarkov is very, very good at Mushroom. I know that if we had the choice, he'd probably do CDM. World Championships for SMK would be just Mushroom Cup.
Is he that passionate about it? Wow.
He really does like Mushroom Cup, and he is very good at Mushroom Cup. To be honest, that was probably about as bad a Mushroom Cup as I've seen him drive.
Yes.
I expect a little bit of nerves coming in. He's also playing on emulator, as far as I'm aware.
So he's using the... We should definitely make viewers aware of this as well. People who don't have the cartridges or the original consoles, that they can use online emulator software if they wish to partake in this tournament. Yeah.
Well, it's too late for them to join the tournament.
Not for this one. But this format, this format, as it goes forward, whether it's NTSC or PAL, there are platforms that allow people to play online in two-player formats as well as practicing themselves. It's pretty. There used to be something called the X-Band that allowed players to play one another in the the mid 1990s. It was working on old internet data, on dial-up protocols, yeah. I mean, Molly, you'd be more worse than this than I would be, but essentially they're using dial-up protocols. There was less lag between people using the software, but nowadays there's platforms called RetroArch that people can use, which allows, if they want to play two-player online, the latency is well corrected. And if they just want to play the game like this, as Zarkov is doing, they can do that as well.
Yeah, so I think for online play, it's basically the SNES 9X core, one of the latest ones, has online play. When we play, we use that core loaded in RetroArch. I believe that Zarkov is playing RetroArch at the moment, using the SNES 9X core. There's other emulators that we allow. I think BSNES, SNES 9X, versions 1.6 or higher are allowed in the tournament.
Yeah.
So he's going to be at a tiny disadvantage to playing on real console because it does play very, very well, but it's ever so slightly different if you're used to playing on an actual console. Zarkov does have Super Nintendo consoles. He just doesn't have any capture equipment for them.
So that's his motivation then, to use capture software to partake in the tournament, and then you can otherwise move between.
Yeah, he doesn't have any way of capturing his Super Nintendo game feeds, so the only way he could join this tournament was to play on emulator.
Right, okay.
So we're off. Dave lost about 3 seconds in the menus by the looks of it, maybe 2. So any wall hops going on here? Not from Zarkov.
No,
not from Bowserkart. So you can generate a boost and launch over the wall just where Zarkov is now. Saves maybe half a second a lap.
Yeah.
But it does kind of make the track a little bit easier, as long as you don't have a CPU in the area where you try to build a boost to get over the wall. Bad items so far. We're looking for mushrooms and feathers here. As of yet, for some reason, Dave's just holding on to his green shell. Sorry, Bowserkart.
Oh wow, Zarkov saved a lucky save there. He hit the egg over the line and it projected him forward rather than stopping dead. He will be. Let's see if that could be a key moment in the race.
Yeah, the reason why I keep calling Bowserkart Dave is because in the Super Mario Kart community, we are very much a first name basis. We've been around each other for decades. Everybody knows each other. Everyone's met each other lots. We're very much used to calling people by name rather than by like Twitch identities. So it's very difficult for me to call Dave Bowserkart because that's something I've never called him before in my life.
Yes. How have you found that, to have a gaming platform that's got an identity and people living and communicating, being friends in that one community, that one game for 20, 25 years? It must be quite interesting.
So I only really joined in 2010, so I've only been around for about 10 years. And I've been in the Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64 side of things for all of those 10 years. I actually joined the community for Mario Kart 64. But kind of quickly got recruited into the Super Mario Kart side of things after a few months, and I kind of been playing both games on and off over the 10 years at the same time. I'd play 3 months of Super Mario Kart, take a little break, play 3 months of Mario Kart 64, take a little break, go to the meets. Like since 2013, I've been to both meets every single year, like both of the big meets for the games. So.
Why do you think that, the 10 years that you've explored it, and maybe perhaps the 15 or 20, 25 years that these two players have explored the game for, why do you think they find their identity within those games? Why does it sustain? Of all the choices of games they could make, they could play, why do you think they carry on doing this?
Not for the game, for the people.
Not for the game, indeed.
It's a well-known saying that in the community, people come for the game but stay for the people. there's a reason why you stay around a community for 20 years, and these are people who aren't necessarily playing the game much anymore.
No.
Like, we come from a time trial community, but there's a lot of people within the community who did their time trialing 10 years ago, barely touch the games at all anymore, but are still around the community because, you know, we've literally thousands and thousands of people on the PlaySpace sites. Lots of people stay around. Lots of people just enjoy hanging out, chilling, chatting about random nonsense to each other all the time. I mean, you know, how many different WhatsApp groups are about this game are we in? How many Discord servers are there?
Yes, how many Twitter groups? Yeah.
Just so much.
Yeah, how many people are like thinking of, are pinning up with different esports federations? How many people have worked in gaming since then on both the French side and on the American side? It's looking like it's evolving fast as well. So it's great. Yeah.
Yep, talking about the American side of things, there is a American Super Mario Kart Championships coming up mid-March. I think March 14th, 15th, something like that, in Monroe, Louisiana. If there's anybody in America who fancies playing Super Mario Kart against some of the best players in the world, if you just Google American Super Mario Kart Championships, I'm sure you'll find it very easily.
Yeah. Will both these players be at the American Mario Kart Championships, Mo?
So Bowserkart will.
Yeah.
He didn't attend last year for various reasons.
Right.
This year he's going. Zarkov won't be. He did attend last year though. He made the trip from England to America for last year's American Super Mario Kart Championships. But this year he's not. I think for people from like Europe, it's quite a big thing to go over to America and do a championships, and it's not really viable to do it every single year.
No, but you think of all the retro games around to choose from at the amateur level and that community level. There can't be many games like Mario Kart that draw people to be motivated to travel a continent, to see friends, hang out, go to meets. But it happens every single year for quite a long time within the karting community. So
yeah, I think one of the things with Mario Kart is it's first and foremost it's designed to be a multiplayer game. So it really does lend itself to having meets. I know all year round we mostly focus on the one-player time trial side of things, mainly because we don't really have live-in people to play against, or most of us don't. So it is good to all meet up, show off our skills, play some two-player. It's a really nice dynamic to the game, and it's something you can do in quite a social atmosphere too. So it's not all like conference centers with like bland rows of TVs. You know, Super Mario Kart Championships last 2 years have been held in an esports bar. So there's been like, you know, drinks, music, pool, random other stuff you can do. In terms of meets, around people's houses, it's a game where you can just sit on the sofa, 2 players, bust your moves out, see who's the best.
Indeed.
And you can lose hours and hours and hours. And I'm so disappointed to see somebody. Okay, that wasn't the finish line. I thought Dave was on his last lap then. He went for the mid-race first corner feather shortcut. I personally find that harder than the finish line one.
Is that an old school shortcut then?
I don't know. I think it might be an NTSC only one, because it's not something you ever really see at the Powerball Championships.
No, I've never seen anyone even mention that before. That's the first time it's just appeared before my eyes. I've been shocked as most of the viewers are. Never seen that land before.
Yeah, so that's the one you go for if you want to go for a 2-feather run. So if you get like a feather on lap 1, you go for that one and hope you get another feather, because the finish line feather saves more than that feather. But obviously if you get 2 feathers, that saves even more. So if you're trying to go for like really high level like runs, or if you're going for individual level speed runs, just trying to get the fastest time you can on Bowser Castle 2, if you get an early feather, you would go for it. In fact, I'd say if you got a feather on laps 1 to 3, you would go for it that way and just hope you pick up another one on 4 or 5. to do the feather finish. This one is Zarkov's Cup. I'm a bit surprised. I thought Bowserkart would take this cup. I will be shocked if Zarkov wins Special Cup. Only because he plays Rainbow Road about as good as I do.
So your current premise at the moment, then, Molly, is a tiebreaker scenario. We think we might have.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to go the whole 5 sets now.
Yeah, for 4 or 5 sets, unless Zarkov can conquer his famous Rainbow Road demon.
Yeah, I mean, unless Zarkov's like 15 seconds ahead going into Rainbow Road, I'd probably still put Dave as the favourite.
Yes, because Dave is Bowserkart is a very confident Special Cup runner.
He's normally just a very confident 150cc runner. He's had a bit of a nightmare on Flower Cup. There's no real denying that. But the cup's over. The timers get reset, so the mistakes that happened on Flower Cup, you can just erase them and move on. Special Cup is one of those cups where you want to get your zoom starts and you want to get away from the CPUs as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you get bogged down in the CPUs on Special Cup, you can just hemorrhage time left, right, and center. You can get bashed around. You suddenly find yourself with no coins. If you get hit by a CPU when you've got no coins, you spin out. And just missing a zoom start, say on Cooper Beach 2, you might suddenly find yourself like stuck behind the CPUs for 3 laps.
Yeah.
So
this should be a good test of Bowserkart's mettle then, to see whether he can do what he's been naturally good at doing in the GP. He's got the edge and experience on Special Cup, and it'll be interesting to see whether we can get a dramatic tiebreaker 5 sets finish.
I have my faith in Dave. I think Bowserkart will take Special. So they're currently setting their menus. So what you see is they actually go through all the menus, select the cup, and then quit out of it. What that does is it fixes the menu position so that when they do come to start the run, all they have to do is hammer the B button, and it'll just select everything all the way through to the race start. They don't need to do any kind of actual menuing.
Yeah.
So just waiting for Dave to set his menu.
I thought he selected Flower Cup by mistake then. Didn't see the lights fade. Right, so he's going to be set up.
I'm being asked if I'm referring to Guillermo Arantes.
In what context?
I don't know. Possibly my... Well, Guillermo had a very bad Rainbow Road 2 in his match versus Dan H.
Okay.
I also had a very bad Rainbow Road in my match versus Aaron.
I had a suboptimal match in Rainbow Road as well against my match versus Jean.
Okay, so the question was whether I was referring to Guillermo Arantes was in reference to Guillermo's tendency to select the wrong cup. Oh, this is some very slow menuing going on.
Oh, is he?
I'm not sure what Dave did there, but he lost a significant amount of time going backwards and forwards in the menus. Which, if you set your menu up, all you should have to do is just hammer one button.
Yeah. The Moses mushroom. It's been seen.
So that's a shortcut we've been waiting to see all tournament, and Zarkov just picks up the mushroom on lap 1, doesn't even give us time to think about what's going to happen before he shrooms into the water. The water propels them through the air over the wall, and straight to the finish line in about 6 or 7 seconds. That should be that lap 1 for him. Let's see if we can get another shroom.
Yeah. Well, that's the first live demo of that, maybe, for a few viewers in a while. I think the last time I've seen that on stream is Exotic, and apart from the World Championships would be Exotic versus Duff, maybe about 8 to 10 years ago. Maybe some Snezots would have it.
On stream? No, it would have been done on stream at ASMKC last year.
Last year. All the more reason why people should tune in.
It will have been done on stream many times by Scoob and Carol when they
Yes.
streamed speedruns in the past. Like it's almost a necessity to get at least one mushroom here to get a decent. If you're going for like an individual cup speedrun, you really need at least one shroom on
Oh
this
yeah,
track.
from a speedrun format, yeah, and certainly in terms of being able to, in this type of tournament format, having those tricks up your sleeve, very useful.
So this has been a bit of a rough DP3 for Bowserkart.
Yeah.
Cooper Beach 2 is well known for being not Zarkov's favourite track, and he's missed a zoom and is behind the CPUs. He needs to get ahead of them. He's got a nice fish position. So the fish positions are kind of orangey.
Yes.
They're kind of limited to a range of space they can be, and they wander around a little bit.
The way that the fish flaps on the ground, it oscillates between the left and the right. Sometimes it's in your way, sometimes you're free as a bird.
Yeah. Oh, that mini shroom.
Mini shroom. Ah, nearly hit, is it?
Yeah, he nearly. Okay, star is about the best item Zarkov could have wished to pick up.
Yeah.
I think it's got quite a decent probability if you're in 5th to 8th as well. It's a low probability item in 2nd to 4th. I think it's like a 1 in 32 if you're 2nd to 4th. But on this track in 5th to 8th, it's quite a decent probability of getting a star. And a mushroom as well.
What's he going to do?
Saving it to right at the end.
Oh, very
105.
safe. Very safe. Yeah.
But Bowserkart should be picking up quite a bit of time here.
He has. I'd say he's maybe took.
It's going to be a 102, I think, by the looks of it.
101.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's pulled back about 4 of the seconds. So
yeah.
Next up is Ghost Valley 3. Now Bowserkart is very good at Ghost Valley 3. He's very happy with the platform jumps. I would hope he'd get something like a 103, 104.
Oh wow, he's very, very keen at them. I thought he was just a fast lap master.
Bowserkart, no.
No. Does he do the super boost? The boost, the zipper boost on the side?
No, he just does nice driving, nice platform jumps.
There we go, the feather lap skip. This is a commanding lead he's taking into this race, into this car.
That feather only really saves about 3 seconds. It's not huge.
I think so. True. Yes. Maybe he's banking. He's banking the number of mistakes that he's allowed to make on Rainbow Road. The number of fall-ups.
Well, that falling off into the abyss is worth more time loss probably than he'd save by hitting both of the feathers he's got.
Right, okay.
So at the moment, Dave's looking on about 103 pace.
Yep, because Dave's trying the same strategies.
Whereas Zarkov's looking like 116 pace. Well, more than that now.
Yeah.
They're pretty much neck and neck, basically, now. Zarkov with the feather is going to make that and finish the race a little bit sooner. But what was a commanding lead for Zarkov is now about a 3 or 4 second lead.
Yep, so
As Dave with the 103. That's exactly what I'd expect Bowserkart to have hit. He's super solid on that track. I think it might even be his favourite track.
Yep.
But
the Australians in the community, they're known to like Ghost Valley 3 a lot, aren't they? With those feathers on NTS and different things.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Chum Dave Senior and Mr. Michael Sumsy Sumner, they like that track.
So Zarkov missed the zoom on VL2. Looks like he's taking the outside route.
Yeah, it's pretty decent line though. He held the speed quite well there with the hops he had.
You should be able to maintain full speed on this track if you go on the outside. That's why I do that route.
I've not seen that line before. So you're essentially doing a hop over the ice initially. You do a swing to maintain here, and then they snow slide there. Right. I've never done a snow slide before.
I go to the right of the pipe and just hop over, because you can go to the right of the pipe and you can just hop over the snow and land on the ice and maintain full speed.
Yeah.
I'll only do what Clark does, Zarkov does if there's a CPU in the way.
Yep. Wow, what a race from those two guys. I think that's great.
Yeah, there's about a
53.
second in it between the two of them now, maybe 2 seconds.
Yep.
So essentially, it's coming down to Rainbow Road. Who can
Yes.
stay on the track? Who can get a feather?
Indeed.
So the feather saves about 7 seconds on the final lap if you can hit it. So as long as one player is within 7 seconds of the other, it's still anybody's race. Instantly, Zarkov picks up a feather. I won't say anything about his RNG. 2 lightnings. So that feather, the shortcut with the feather is only allowed to be used on lap 5.
Yeah, which way is holding it?
Because we've basically banned any skips that involve Lakitu. So if you were to do the feather shortcut on laps 1 to 4, it would work, but Lakitu would also then put you back the other side of the track. So you essentially skip an entire lap. Whereas we allow it to finish because you cross the finish line before Lakitu's involved, so your race is over before he comes in. But Zarkov falling off, he's having his Rainbow Road, but he's got the feather. Ooh, looking at the positions of the two players, this is still Zarkov's. Dave's off now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, they are neck and neck, but Zarkov with the feather. With stream delay, there's no way of him knowing, so he's going to have to go for this feather. And hold right, cross the finish line,
he's done it! Wow.
And that is match Zarkov. 3-1. So, despite falling off, he still comes home with a 117.
Yeah. For 123.
Bowserkart with a 123, no feather.
And a decisive feather.
So, that is going to be it. I think with it being 9 o'clock, there's something else scheduled on this channel, so I don't believe we're going to have any time to do any interviews. So, just gonna, that's been confirmed. So, just gonna say congratulations to Zarkov for the win. Congratulations for Bowserkart for the performance, and both players will move on. Zarkov into the winners rounds, Bowserkart to the losers bracket. Any last comments, Yorkshire?
No, great performance, I think, by both karters. Yeah.
Okay, there'll be plenty more SMK action over the coming weeks, so stay tuned. Good night.
Good night. Cheers.